Larry, Fort Worth Memories Museum and Groups. Let me see if I can find out if we're coming through loud and clear or what's going on. Yeah, just got a notification, so I'm going to share, I'm going to style it. Okay, so today is Wednesday, May 14th. Well, this year is flying by. Like it, tell everybody good morning. And then we're going to share it to the internet, memories, live videos, and messages. Okay, Rangers won last night, so the record is now 22-21. They're one game over 500. The team they're playing, Colorado, their team, I think, has got a bad record. We got some more people left their messages, their thoughts, their issues with the city. We've now had 2 city council members that have joined in on that group. Carlos Flores and Michael Crane. We'll see how many of our elected officials actually care enough to go on there and like it and watch what is being said. So it's up to the individual city council members and the mayor. Aaron's in, George is in. Gonna be another beautiful day out there. We're busy as beavers over here. Rosie's back today. She's off on Tuesdays. The museum is now open. I prefer that you call and make an appointment. It's $10 per person. Good morning, Brittany. Got a lot of one-of-a-kind stuff in here that nobody else has got. Important stuff, pieces to Fort Worth. So where are we going to eat? I hadn't figured that out yet, but I will. As soon as Rosie gets here and we get started on the work, I'll put some thought to it. People ask me why we don't go to Westside Cafe. There's no problem with Westside Cafe. Their food's fabulous. The problem is you have to sit there and wait for a while. I'm talking about there's no way you could get tables pulled together. They just don't do that. Do I know anything about what? Tommy's, well, they made a post and said they're dealing with their insurance company and they're gonna, I don't know how much damage was actually done. Of course, when you have a fire in a restaurant or a clothing store, it takes a long time to get back to where you can operate. When I was in the clothing business, we did have a fire at one of our locations. And it took forever to get it. And it wasn't a big fire either. Anyway, I don't know what's going on in Fort Worth. Let me see if I can figure out on news break. So anyway, go on that post where you can talk about your issues that you have, potholes, redistricting, bills are too high, whatever. Just be civil in your post and your remarks. Store closing. Oh, that's a hat store. That's an advertisement. Arlington mayor instructs city to investigate. I didn't ask you anything. The legality of ongoing Tarrant redistricting efforts. That redistricting's got a lot of people on one side or the other. Michelle Obama reveals deal she and her husband Barack have in their marriage. Supposes her number one rule for the bedroom. Not that I want to know that. Fort Worth paves way for new 335-acre Bonds Ranch developing, featuring homes and school. More development. Out of all of these little segments that I'm reading, I haven't ever seen one that says they're addressing the potholes or the roads. If we sing loud enough, if we make enough noise, somebody will start doing something. So you need to go on there and leave your comments, and please, everybody's got to be concerned about the roads. I mean, they're horrible. John Cornyn is fighting for his security. He's trying to cling to anything that'll get him a victory against Ken Paxton. George Clooney was shaken when Biden failed to recognize him at star-studded fundraiser. That's when Clooney, I don't know how much money they raised, $100 million or whatever, and the guy you raised the money for didn't even recognize you, and everybody said he's fine. Biden made Harris campaign a nightmare. CNN wrote that. Biden's press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, laughs off the question of Biden's health. Ask George Clooney, he can tell you. That big drug dealer, Chapo, a lot of his relatives live right here in the United States. That's comforting. I know that when his youngest wife was having the twin girls or twin boys, whatever they were, she was going to have them in Mexico, and he said, this is when he was on the run, I think. He said, no, you go to Los Angeles. We're having the kids there so they could become American citizens. And of course, nobody stopped that. Okay, so there's nothing happening there. So we'll What's going on in Fort Worth this weekend? Events and things to do. Visit Fort Worth, that's a great organization. They're having a AC Hotel Fort Worth live music weekend. Scavenger hunt. Knife show in Azle. There ain't nothing going on because they ain't printing nothing. Just get out and go down the stockyards or go Botanical Gardens, the zoo, stuff that is mainstays of Fort Worth that people don't do. They complain. I hear people, I'll go to Botanical Gardens, they charge. There's nothing free in life, believe me. So you can go to the library, the Fort Worth Library, and get a pass, and I think it's for a week to go to Botanical Gardens. But we need to support all of our local stuff. Events they have at Will Rogers, the events at Dickey's, Botanical Gardens, the zoo. All of that's important stuff. You know, our motto here is buy Fort Worth, spend Fort Worth. Let me see if I can read some of the things that y'all have chosen to have the city. We've already got 2 of the city council members in that thread already. But we need to hear from y'all, everybody. Alright, so again, that's what it looks like. It's orange. There's been 33 people go on. Michael Crane, city council member, Carlos Flores are both in it. So we need to Stacy says we need incentives for the community to get involved. Most citizens are truly unaware how to navigate issues until it's too late. That's correct. Too many people are in power that are controlling the narrative, and that's self-serving and not benefiting the communities as a whole. That's correct, Stacy. We elect them and then they decide this is what the people want. If we make this thread large enough of y'all go on there, they'll start listening. The first day we had 2 city council members, and as of yet, no Manny Parker, and they're all tagged in it. They can't say they didn't get it. Of course, my big deal is the roads. Janie Anderson Coleman agrees the roads are terrible. Carl Todd wants to know about the roads. If you go on there and make remarks that are borderline me knocking them off, you won't be able to get away with it twice. People calling by the right wing religious wacko nutcases. In fact, I'm done with your wacko remark. and I will put you on notice. Ginger, I live in South Fort Worth, and littering is out of control. We've had campaigns in the past to deter littering and could use one today. She's correct. Our city is getting trashy. It's true. Trash is on so many streets and it sits there too long. I've seen comments from many residents living in my area and in other parts of Fort Worth who have the same problem. We know who's at fault, the people doing the littering, but have had problems. Ginger says, or Mary says, they're sponsoring a cleanup effort on the certain streets. For example, TCU football team and Coca-Cola, etc. have assigned streets. Lindsay says the slaughter going on in our animal shelters is ridiculous. On top of that, it's very hard to get authorities to act on animal cruelty cases. You can talk about whatever you want, just make sure it's Fort Worth or Tarrant County. Sherry, roads are horrible. Way too many apartments. Thumbs up. Too much development, my opinion. Dub, need infrastructure before developments. Well, we've talked about that. I've voiced my opinion to people that I've interviewed, Michael Crane, Carlos Flores, Manny Ramirez. Our city and county ought to be attractive enough, no tax abatements, and make these developers pay for the infrastructure. If they don't want to do that, go somewhere else. We can be real choosy, picky and choosy. And if we get people, council members, whoever, that are taking some form of kickback for approving it, that'll be a mistake. Don't let somebody come to me and tell me that, because I'll expose it in a minute. Cynthia, I hate the overdeveloping. Enough with the new apartment complexes. So every day you need to go on here and tell your friends and neighbors, church members, whatever. Every day go on there and make a comment that is a legitimate comment. Another lady, the streets are a mess. They are up and down with holes all over the place. When they fix one, within a few weeks it's worse. Yeah, I don't know. They're just throwing that black tar, whatever that stuff is in there. That doesn't last. I've been told by city council members we've only got one pothole crew. Well, we need to change that and stop on the development. L.A. Barte, an old high school friend of mine, too many potholes. So I'm putting, again, streets, horrible. Tell us the plan to fix them. It's not just in Fort Worth. Hazel, I'm fixing to get on. I've already called 3 times for the mayor out there. I'll get his attention today. So instead of complaining to other people and raising hell about it, go on here and do something to make a difference. You got a voice. We got 131,000 plus active members. If we have 1,000 members go on here, and the city, like I say, I've tagged them all, so they know it's there. If they don't jump on and join into this deal, we'll know who not to elect next time. I don't care who that makes mad. People that don't want to support me in the back giveaway or whatever, that's your business. My business is standing up, and that's what I'm going to do. So we've got the vehicle. It's called Fort Worth Memories. Just don't make it political. Don't start bullying somebody or something. Just simply state your deal. Once we get enough people hollering for fixing the streets or the redistricting or the this or the that, the trash, they've got to do something. They limit your time down at city council to what, 1 minute now, 1 minute and a half. You can talk all day long right here. It says Fort Worth Memories, attention members, important issues, and it's in orange. And like I say, I have tagged everybody. Michael Crane, Chris Nettles, Elizabeth Beck, Carlos Flores, Maddie Parker, Jeanette Martinez, Charles Lauersdorf, Deborah Peoples, Macy Hill, Alan Blaylock. The only council member is the one that's in a runoff, and as soon as June the 2nd or 3rd, and that's because this post isn't going to go away. This thread is on here forever. Now we're going to see which one of these city council members or mayor. If you don't want to participate, then we get the message. Just keep redistricting or keep developing and make that your mainstay and see what that gets you. Okay, let's do the sponsors. Winstead Paint and Body, White Settlement Road, 1 block west of Roberts Cutoff. The Stripling's Honor Roll plaque. That shows you the names. They really blow up. Hold on and you'll get some of the names. There's heroes. 88 employees that were employed at Stripling's department store went and served in World War II. Only one, David Hilburn, lost his life. So I would say that's probably some of the best odds. 1 out of 88 made it back. They're heroes, all of them. And Memorial Day is coming up. Scott Sumner, our IT guru, website designer, technical consultation, messaging. Alpha Design and Build, Lance Sanders. They do residential and commercial work. They'll remodel your house or your building, and they'll add a second story if you want it. All of the Blue Mountain Cafes, there's 5 of them. They have been sponsors with us for years. Stinger's Sports Bar, also in Azle. There they are. That's in the old Mark Dean barbecue, right off 199. Fort Worth Florist, Jeanette and her team, they've sent a lot of flowers for our members. We thank them. Dickie Carr is Pat and is Richard Carr's nephew. His company is Grateful for Your Trees. They do everything to do with trees. You can point out a tree to Dickie and say, I need that tree cut down and I want to make firewood out of it, they can do it. They also do landscaping, fences, all type of haul off, demolition, sells firewood, flower beds. They do it all. Dickie Carr, grateful for your trees. G2 Garage is in the White Settlement area. They've worked on a lot of vehicles for our members, and we're appreciative. Chris is the gentleman that runs that operation. Phelps Family Auto Care, Burleson area. Mike Phelps and his wife, their whole family's involved in it. They've got some great technicians over there. You ask anybody in Burleson about Phelps Family Auto Care, and they're going to say something good. Stroud Auto Supply, Haltom City, Riverside. Danny Stroud is second generation. I actually bought parts there when I was 15. The mechanic I used in Haltom City, I call him California Tom. He said, go buy the parts over at Stroud, and that's where I've been buying them ever since. Schwartz and Hanson, architectural firm, very active in the bike giveaway. Rex's Bar and Grill, that is the premier sports bar anywhere. He's got a TV over there. It's not as big as the one in Jerry's World, but it's the biggest one I've seen in a bar or anything. Tri-State Dent, Jason and his crew over there, they'll come to you. They'll work with you on your deductible if you've got room there. They're easy to work with. Door dings, hail damage, minor dents. Casey Crawl, Medicare or Medicaid. Don't try to navigate Medicare or Medicaid on your own. You'll go crazy. Let me move that up. Rains Plumbing. That is a family-owned business. They pride themselves in their customer satisfaction, and they do a great job. I've heard great reports on them. Charlie Guerin's Railhead Barbecue. Charlie is our state rep, owner of Railhead Barbecue. He's on the board of directors at Larry's Kids, and very, very active in our bicycle giveaway. Very passionate about it. Don't know what you're asking me there. Getting a question from the South Texas group. Optimist Club of Fort Worth. There's several Optimist Clubs. There's 2 or 3 in the county. They're an international organization. Jeff Norman visits with us often. They provide us a Christmas tree at the museum here at no charge every year. So in December, they're on the front side of Farrington Field, the university side, selling Christmas trees that goes towards the youth. On the back side by the Billingsley Fieldhouse, basketball is our Larry's Kids bicycle giveaway. That event is on December 13th, 2025. You can donate money now. Larry's Kids is a website. You can donate, you can buy bikes, you can do whatever you want to do. But it's never too early to get started on it. You're on a fixed income, put back $5 every pay period. 20 weeks or 20 pay periods, you'll have enough to buy a bike. The goal this year is $1,400. Last year we gave away exactly 1,120 bikes. We've already got about 50 here in the museum. Old South Pancake House. 2 locations. University Drive, that's open 24/7. That's another Rex Benson owned business. So in other words, you stop at the 1500 block of South University Drive and go into one of those 2 establishments. They're both owned by Rex Benson. He's very active, very caring owner, cares about customer service, been a sponsor of the group for years and years. I've known the family for years and years. Old South goes back. Dave bought it. His father in 1962. Jenny Stewart, State Farm Insurance. All I'm asking is State Farm, Allstate, Farmers, they're all about the same. They all give good coverage. Call Jenny's team and see if you can't save $50 a month. It adds up. Cross Electric, voted one of DFW's favorites. Brandon Cross. Every time I post something on the internet, Manny Ramirez goes on there and he uses them. K Ranch Roofing, Jorge Hernandez. If you think or you don't even know if you've had roof damage from the hail and the high winds, we had some terrible storms in the last few months. You call K Ranch Roofing. Bree runs the office and she will figure out a time that's good for you and good for them to send a technician out or a roofing expert, and they'll let you know if you've got any roof damage, and there's no charge for that. So why wouldn't you call? Fort Worth Lumber, Interstate I-35 South, building plans, materials. You just want to go out there and ask them questions. It's a huge operation out there. Very active in our bike giveaway too. Been a sponsor of our group longer than any sponsor on here. Coburn's Catering actually started in 1946. I've known the Coburns since 1960. Their location on North Main used to be Coburn's Cafeteria. I ate there as a kid. My dad was always over in North Side. That's where the hoodlums hung. Dickie Carr, Sand and Gravel, Pat and Richard Carr. Super people, very active in the community, always willing to help on any worthwhile event, very active in a bike giveaway. They were the first entity that donated $5,000 last year to Larry's Kids. Proud to call them my friends. Dana Lang, Dana Sells Cowtown, real estate. Very knowledgeable about Fort Worth history. Likes to drive fast cars. A-Bird AC and Heating, that's Dub Peacock. And yes, he's one of the Polly Peacock guys. They've been in business forever. Very active in the bike giveaway, passionate about it. So if you have any issues with your heat and air unit, or you think you're hearing it make a different noise, I always walk around the house or inside the house. If I hear a noise that's different than what I normally do, I try to find out what the heck's going on. Eric Walsh, Board of Directors at Larry's Kids. Real estate. Very passionate about the bike giveaway. Good guy. Real good guy. Yellow Snake Horses, Brazos River Ranch. The weather's perfect. You don't have to be a seasoned horseback rider. You go down Interstate 20, exit Millsap. Takes you about an hour. You get out of this heck hole that we're in, the city. I mean, it's traffic, congestion. I mean, it's just a rat race every day. Get down there in the country. That's where you go down there, and besides riding horses, you might decide you want to move down there. You can ride for almost 2 hours for $75. You do not have to be experienced. They work with you. Great people. Okay, I got to get out here. It's 8 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Once I get everything lined out there, I will come back and we will talk Fort Worth history. Got a late bloomer here, Cleburne. What year was what? On the highway? My family members, or me, since the 50s. No, wait a minute, 40s. Me personally, 60s. Well, I was actually on the highway. My dad had taken me out there when I was a little boy, 10 or 11 years old. But actually, out there trying to make money or whatever, live that other lifestyle that I used to live, 60s, 66, 66, 7 and 8, 69. I left over there and moved west out Hazel Springtown area by the 70s because there's too many folks looking for me on Jacksboro Highway. Yes, I did actually live in one of the apartments at 2222 Jacksboro Highway. About 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. Well, that's where all the action was as far as the I don't know how to say this. The business I was in, I was surrounded by other people in like-minded businesses, which are all illegal. What made me stop? The 80s. Has to do with a pistol being shot. That was an attitude adjustment. Okay, so in June or July, well, if you've got that many, we'll have to do it in a couple of days, but now that Rosie's here, we can do it during the week also. Let me see who's asking me. Got questions coming from different locations. Ginger's in. Later, James. David, please go on that thread that's running. I'll tag you in it. We need people doing one central complaint area, because eventually we'll have all the city council members and the mayor. I would think if I was in their position. David Anderson. Okay, so I'll tag you. Larry's in. George says he picks up litter every day. Go on there and say it. Aaron says he sees it. He rides a little scooter around. And the entire state is trashy, but if you're as old as I am, or older, or similar, before we had Don't Mess with Texas, everybody threw their trash out of the car. Just threw it out on the streets. It was horrible. These bar ditches on Jacksboro Highway, that's where the water would run and keep it from getting up in the parking area. Those bar ditches were full of trash every day. Oh yeah, new striping on the streets. Aaron, put that on the deal. That's a good one, because when you get up there in age, driving in at dark, it's hard to see those little silver deals. Street striping. Good deal, Aaron. Y'all have to put your opinions on that thread. Let's go. Let's get it going. There's Newly. I hadn't seen you in a while, sir. Bill is in. You can make a comment on there every day, 2 times a day. Yeah. Ginger says she remembers when there was a ton. Yeah. Before Don't Mess with Texas, the streets were terrible. Trash was everywhere. And that dates back, Fort Worth has a history of that. Back when we had cholera and other pandemics, when we had the Spanish influenza, 1917 and 18, they thought it was attributed to rats and trash and all of that. They shut the city down basically and had anybody that had a truck, you need to be at a starting point, and they had city cleanups like 3 or 4 weekends in a row. But yeah, we're getting right back. I used to pride ourselves. I used to tell a cousin of mine, we'd visit them in Louisiana. Good morning, David. And I'd say, well, I know exactly when I hit Louisiana territory because the streets are horrible. He now messages me and says, our streets are a lot better than y'all's and highways. They are. I mean, there's streets out there that look like war zones. And the last time I Googled it, it said we had a budget of 30% what they estimate to fix the roads, and that was a long time ago. So, shut down on all this developing, mayor and city council, or at least make the infrastructure in sync with the development. You know, the Trump administration, if you're going to add a regulation, you got to take 3 down, or 2 down, whatever that deal is. Same thing, if you're going to throw up another flimsy apartment complex, you got to do 100 or 20 streets fixing them. Okay, Brittany, y'all need to, you're preaching to a choir here. You got to go on there and make comments. It doesn't do you any good. They're not listening to this thing. They're listening to that other thread. So I implore you to let us be heard. We've got the biggest voice in Fort Worth or in Tarrant County, bar none. Don't worry about offending anybody. They'll all throw it back on me. And I really don't give a damn. I'm tired of everybody telling me, oh, Larry, all you got to do is go on My Fort Worth and they'll be out there in an hour. That's BS. Whichever mayor or city council is telling me that, that's BS, okay? There. And if you don't want to come to my bike giveaway because I'm trying to get you to do your job, then so be it. We've let our streets go to hell, but yet we're throwing these apartments up right and left. Everywhere you go, we're under construction. But there ain't no construction on the streets. So we need to clean it up. Newly elected mayor and city council. And if y'all choose not to join in on this deal, I'm going to remind everybody. Right now, Carlos Flores and Michael Crane are on that thread. And they gave it a thumbs up. So, you politicians can do what you want. Oh yeah, I don't see how. Is apartments really the answer? That now, 20 years from now, our kids are going to say, damn, my dad and his group, they just built apartments everywhere. Now they're falling apart. A lot of these apartments are getting built with not the top quality materials. Cut corners, cheapen the price so you can pad their pocketbooks and increase the rent. It's ridiculous. You go down there on 7th Street. I've had several members tell me they have it's not rent controlled, but it is rent controlled. You can't get a 12-month lease. You dang sure can't get a 2 or 3 year lease. because they do a review of the market value every so often. But yet, if you live there and something goes wrong, the air conditioning or this or that or whatever, they ain't about to fix it real quick. So the way we fight back is right here. So everybody on here, I want to see you on that thread. We need to make that thread strong enough to where it gets their attention. Okay? Y'all can talk a big game, but if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. And by not voicing your opinions, you're part of the problem. Don't be scared to say what you think. They work for us. We don't work for them. And one other thing, it's National Police Week. Please respect all law enforcement. David Anderson. Okay, David Anderson, I'm putting your name down here. David Anderson. I don't know how many of them there is, but there's 2 or 3, so I'm just going to send it to all of you. We need to make this we need to make this thread squeaky. So Ginger, Aaron, I don't see you making any comments. There's Aaron James. That's another Aaron that needs to be saying something. There's Aaron Smelly. Okay, let's get to and tell people to go on there. The louder we make it, the more attention we get. It costs you nothing. Make it just like you brush your teeth every morning. You brush your teeth before you go to bed at night. Do the same with this thread. We'll get their attention. I don't care if it slows down the development. I think there's too much development. Fix what we got now before you start adding new. And anybody that knows anything about kickbacks from developers, please call me. I've got a lot of stringers out there. Stringers are people that feed me information. We've got eyes and ears all over this city and county. We need more. And your identity is never revealed. They'll put me in jail before I'll reveal it. I'm not scared of going up against the city or the county. Okay, I got to get out here and get started. Poor people have to work every day. Come tour the museum. Brittany, you need to make some comments on there. You can make comments from New Jersey. It doesn't matter. What else? Trying to think. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? See if anybody's made any. Yeah, y'all can adopt a street. Sure you can. You know, back in the 80s, you remember neighborhoods that would go together if they had a common area that was curbed or something and it had grass or dirt. They would plant nice flowers and stuff like that. Adopt a neighborhood. Alright, I gotta go out here and try to make a living. Headlights, we do them 15-20 minutes while you wait. 8 to noon. Afternoon, we start trying to figure out. I get people that call at 1 o'clock, want to do a detail. At 1 o'clock, we're trying to finish up and go home. Takes 5 hours to do one. Keep that in mind. Scratches that are polished out, something like that, we do it while you wait. Have I found what? A home for the museum? No. We know any millionaires that have got a building laying around? It would be one of the city's biggest mistakes that they let my collection get away. If I was to die today, it would be in a Regency or a Christie's auction within a month. All 95,000 pieces. One of a kind pieces. Pieces that once they're gone from the city where it can be looked at by y'all, no telling what they'll do. I have not heard any updates on the wash basin bowl. It's not Fort Worth, it is Fort Worth. It was in this city for at least 50 years. E.M. Daggett is the one that took it from Santa Anna, the supreme ruler of Mexico. Yeah, he was the man. Do you know, back in the days, from 1911 to 1914 or 15, Mexico had 40-something presidents or rulers or supremes. They had one guy that lasted 48 minutes. You talking about unstable. We've had what now? 47 presidents? They had 40 presidents in 4 years. Google it. And I know it because I've read it or seen it. Okay, so I do not know the status on Pete Rose, so I've read that 2 different times. Does that mean that they are now able to be put in there, or he's able to be put in there posthumously? Please tell me yes. That was one of the biggest tragedies in sports. Yeah, he broke the rules. He gambled. What about Paul Hornung and that group of Green Bay Packers? They actually were betting on their own games. Rose did not bet on his own games. Look at all these athletes today, all of the crap they've done. So whoever was in charge of putting him in the Hall of Fame and didn't do it for the last 20 or 30 years of his life, a shame on y'all. Okay, love all of you. Got to go. Be sure and use our sponsors. They help keep this thing alive as well as y'all do. Please go on there and make comments about the issues. It's the only way we're going to get them fixed.